Uji could be just a small matcha town. It could feel almost a little underwhelming if it wasn't for this one experience. And Kyoto was nothing like everyone warned me it would be. It was much better. So if you didn't know, Uji is essentially the matcha capital of Japan. This is where it comes from, this is where it's been growing for centuries, and as for people who take their matcha very seriously, pointing at myself, we had to come here. The train from Kyoto is super easy, maybe 30 minutes or so, and the town itself is small and walkable and just so peaceful. But we weren't here just to shop for matcha, although it's a great place to get some. We booked a traditional matcha experience workshop and it was even better than I expected. So the workshop is held at this community center right in the heart of Uji, and it starts with a proper introduction. How the tea is harvested, what makes Uji matcha different, and the whole history of it. And then you get to the part I was most excited about. Hand milling your own matcha on a traditional stone grinder. And okay, I thought it was going to be hard, but fairly quick, as you need just a few grams of matcha, right? It's not quick. Matcha needs to be ground incredibly fine, like almost impossibly fine. And doing it by hand on a stone mortar is much slower than you'd imagine. But it was meditative and it felt like ritual. They do have electric grinders nowadays, obviously, but the whole point of doing it by hand is to experience the whole ritual of making matcha the traditional way. After a good few minutes, we had maybe 2-3 grams of matcha, and so they taught us how to actually prepare it. They taught us a proper whisking technique, how to get that thick foam on the top, and so on. We got to taste 2 cups side by side. One was made from our hand ground matcha, and one was from their fancy grinder that they have there. The difference was subtle, but we could feel it there, and obviously theirs was better, but we tried our very best. And it was still delicious. They also gave us some handmade sweets as a parting gift, which was such a lovely touch. And after the workshop, you also have a ticket for a whole matcha museum that is in the same building, where we learned about the full history of how green tea became such a huge part of Uji's identity. It was actually really interesting. And obviously, I stopped by the shop on the way out and bought their high quality matcha that I simply cannot get anywhere in Europe, and for a third of the price too. We just finished the matcha grinding lesson that was like 60 minutes. We drank 2 cups of matcha and we went through the whole museum as well. It was so nice. All of this behind me is tea plants. Little tea plantation. It's just where we did our matcha grinding session. That was so fun. And now we're buzzing because we have too much matcha in our blood and we are starving. So let's find lunch. Probably something matcha themed, like soba noodles that are matcha, or something with matcha. The area of Uji, or the town Uji, it's super peaceful. There's nothing much happening apart from tea. Everything is just tea. But I'm having a good time here. And so it was time for matcha shopping, and there are matcha shops absolutely everywhere in Uji, which is dangerous, and so we went a little overboard. But the one that genuinely stood out above everything else was Horii Shichimeien, a multi-generational matcha store that has been making matcha for centuries. You can even find them mentioned in the museum. The older couple that runs it made us matcha on the spot, told us all about their history, and it became a core memory of our trip. It's not one of those overhyped brands on social media that were sold out everywhere anyway, just genuinely exceptional matcha from people who have dedicated their entire lives to it. This was by far the best matcha we bought on the trip. The next day we were back in Kyoto. We started the morning at the Traveler's Factory, which, if you are a stationary person like me, it's basically a religious experience. I picked up the most beautiful green tea journal that is made from real green tea leaves and a few other small things. It's a must stop if you are into stationery, and Japan is so famous for it. Then we made our way to Tenjuan, a Buddhist temple with gardens that I was genuinely not prepared for. It was peaceful in a way that felt almost surreal. It was so green, incredibly green. And we walked around those ponds, watched the koi in them, sat there for a while. Not crowded at all. I don't know how that happened. I did not expect it not to be crowded, but it was so peaceful. And the maple trees, I'm telling you, they were just starting to turn. Just the first hints of red at the tips, here and there. I remember standing there thinking, if this is what it looks like right now, what does it look like in full autumn, in a few weeks? I cannot imagine the sheer beauty of it in peak season. It went straight onto my list of things I need to come back for. And then Nanzenji is right next door and it's just as beautiful. We somehow missed the aqueduct that is there, that is apparently equally beautiful and stunning. I don't know, don't be like us, find it. Both of the places were so peaceful and so green and so beautiful. These two places together were perfect for a walk. We needed coffee at this point and I had Blue Bottle on my list, and I'm so glad I did because this has to be one of the most beautiful cafe spaces I ever been in. It looked like a traditional Japanese wooden building from the outside, and inside is this serene, almost minimalist space where they were pouring filter coffee and serving these little sweet treats, and I got some beans, and I swear I would go there every single morning if I lived in Kyoto. On our way back to the city center, we walked through the Keage Incline, an old railway track that is now completely overgrown with moss and greenery. It's not a must-see, but if you are passing through anyway, it's a lovely 10-minute walk, very Studio Ghibli vibe. I had Thisis Shizen on my must-try list. They do this spiral floral ice cream that is almost too pretty to eat. We didn't end up getting the ice cream, but I did try their vetiver iced tea and I'm still thinking about it. It tasted like nothing I ever had before, incredibly refreshing, almost floral, like if a perfume became a drink in the best way possible. I was this close to buying a bag to take home. I didn't, I regret it. Learn from my mistakes. Try their vetiver iced tea. And we finished the day at Gyoza Chau Chau, award-winning gyoza. There was a long queue. The queue was worth it. Best gyoza of my life. Simple as that. There is more Japan content coming weekly. I have so much footage still to edit, so if you want to see more, subscribe so you don't miss it. See you in the next one.